Hi, friends and family. I want to take a moment and just express my gratitude for all of you being willing to participate in this with me. I'm so excited that you are here, and it is my intention to help share with you these tools that really have made a huge impact on me, and they've really helped me through my healing journey. So, all of you that are listening right now know me personally in some way, even if we're just, longtime friends and only really communicate through Facebook. So, you know that I have experienced, because I'm pretty vocal about things, several traumatic events in a row, probably over the last 10 years or so. And just like yourselves, and I know that several of you whom I'm sharing this with, I know you personally as well, and I know that you have been through a lot of traumatic experiences as well, and my heart goes out to you. So what happened was, I guess what I was doing was suppressing a lot of my feelings. And whenever we suppress, like whenever we resist something, it persists, so to speak. So I didn't really understand when my severe anxiety started happening. And just a back note, I've always been an anxious human being. Like, if somebody could be born having a panic attack, that was me. Like, I've just always been, since a little girl, very afraid. I always anticipated the worst case scenario. If my parents weren't home from work when I thought they should be, I was sitting at the window, like, creating stories in my head of, gosh, they got in a car accident, or I was afraid to go on airplanes because I was afraid if I fell asleep, like, my family would just, like, get off and leave me. I was afraid in stores because one time my mom was on the other aisle and I freaked out because I couldn't find her. And she was literally just maybe 100 feet away. So in any case, I have always had the tendency to be quite anxious. I did pretty good up until, things got better. And then in my early 20s, when I became a mother, my anxiety came back. And that's actually when I got involved in yoga, because my midwife at the time had suggested that I possibly get on some anti-anxiety medication, and I really didn't want to go that route. So she suggested yoga. And at that time, it was 1996, 1997. Yes, that's my dog, and you might be hearing a little bit of him. Sorry about that. At that time, there was like, maybe, I don't even think there was a yoga studio. There might have been one in Palm Beach County, but there was a lady who was teaching classes here in Jupiter at the high school. And I went and took one class, and I left feeling wonderful. I had never felt that calm in my life. And I just loved it. So I attended those classes for 8 weeks. It was like an 8-week course. And I absolutely loved it. But then life happened, and I kind of got out of that. I didn't continue with it up until, I guess, around 2013. And that's when I started my teacher training. And anyhow, yoga has been wonderful, but this isn't going to be about yoga. Yoga was and is and will always be a wonderful tool for me. Not everybody's into it, and that's okay. But the cumulative effect that yoga had on me was amazing. And I can't say enough good things about it. But a lot of what we do in yoga is breathing and deep breathing. And that's another thing that just really, really helps calm the nervous system. So, all right, enough about that. All right, so basically, I feel like I'm kind of skipping all over the place, so I apologize. But basically, I guess when I was caretaking Chuck in his last year of life, I started becoming very anxious, and ended up finding out later from a dear friend of mine, wink wink, who's hopefully listening to this, I was suffering with something called anticipatory grief. And what was going on is our thoughts are really powerful. And I was doing that thing that I've always been really good at, just going in my mind, the thoughts of like the worst case scenario. And what was happening is those thoughts were manifesting into my body as severe anxiety. So I began having panic attacks while I was driving. I started having panic attacks at Publix, like standing in line. One time I had it, and after that, every time I was in line, I would work myself into another panic attack because I was afraid that I was going to have a panic attack. And that's kind of how it works with panic and anxiety attacks. Once you have one, if most likely if you're listening to this, you have experienced it, the feeling is absolutely terrible. It's terrible. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. Just the sensations in the body, the heart racing, the sweating, feeling like, these are my symptoms at least, feeling as if I'm going to faint or pass out, and lightheaded and just tingly, like electric, really yucky feeling. So these things started occurring more and more, and they got to the point where eventually, and this happened actually after he passed. I mean, I held it together as long as I could, but after he passed, I definitely became agoraphobic, to which I did not want to leave my house because my house is my safe place. And it got to the point where I completely stopped driving. I turned my lease in, my Jeep, and it was a really sad period of time, because shortly after that, we had COVID after Chuck passed, and then we were kind of forced to be inside. And I was actually kind of happy about that because I was like, all right, I can take this time, to heal. But during that time, more traumatic events happen, and I won't get into them, but, I had a couple major losses, and then my daughter Marley had our granddaughter and then ended up with major blood clot disorder. So that was really scary. So bam, 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 bam. So during this time while I'm home, and a lot of people ask, why didn't you just go to the doctor and get on some medication for this? You've been through a lot. I'm not against medication at all, but for me, it wasn't the right answer. And I'm a very curious person, and I wanted to get to the bottom of this. Like, why am I feeling this? I wanted to understand my mind. I wanted to learn tools. So that's what I did. I literally have some days spent 8 hours studying our mind, studying neuroscience, studying different techniques to help heal anxiety. And I do believe it is my mission. I do believe I've gone through all these experiences so that I could heal myself and help heal others. So I'm really happy you're here, and I'm going to just go ahead and jump into this method. So during these 8 years, I learned several tools. Now, several of the tools in this method I actually learned through yoga, such as like the breathing techniques. But others I learned in my search for understanding. For example, EFT, which stands for Emotional Freedom Technique, and it's tapping. It's tapping on different, with your fingers, tapping on different points, meridian points on your body, and every one of these tools has science backing it, like research and studies and wonderful health benefits. This one in particular helps to lower the stress hormone cortisol, which all of us in this group, I'm sure we are experiencing, or we have experienced, high levels of cortisol. And it's very dangerous. Cortisol is very important, but it's not a hormone, just like adrenaline, that we want coursing through our bodies all the time. And whether you've been through traumatic experiences or not, just life in itself, as we know, can be very stressful. I believe that 100% of us that are listening to this are caretakers in some way, whether it be parents or maybe caretaking your parents. So we all have that, and that alone is very, very stressful. And just life happens. And that's something that I'm starting to learn. Things are not always going to be beautiful. Actually, unfortunately, just recently, my father was diagnosed with dementia. It's not a good situation. So life's going to keep happening to us, and things are going to keep happening. So we need tools, and it's my belief that we need tools that are simple and accessible to everybody, and that's why I'm really excited to share this method with you. So that tool, the EFT tapping, has worked wonders for me, and I used it a lot after Chucky passed away, actually, because I was frozen. So, of course, you all have heard about our flight or fight, right? Well, there's another one, fawn, freeze, and that's what I ended up doing. So I just felt frozen. So I do this technique, this EFT tapping, and there's several different meridian points that you can do it on. In this method, I just do 2. But what would happen is I could feel all the hurt and all the pain and sorrow that I had been pushing down, I didn't want to deal with it. So, and a lot of us do this, I just kept pushing it down. And that's energy, just so you know. It's energy, and it literally gets stuck in our bodies. So it's one thing, I'm also a big believer about our thoughts and our thinking. It's one thing to think that you can think yourself out of anxiety. Unfortunately, you can't, because it's energy that you've stored within the body. So we've got to treat the body. And that's what this method is all about. It's getting that energy. It's basically like somatic exercises to get that energy moving so that you feel safe in your body and you feel calm. I will have to tell you, when I was doing the EFT tapping, it helped me tremendously. And I would sit and do it every day, and I could feel that yuck. And I hold my anxiety in my upper belly. Everybody holds it in different spots. Sometimes people hold it in their hips, jaws, shoulders. Mine is like at the top, right underneath, like right underneath your breast, like in the middle, like the solar plex area. And it was constantly tight, like constantly. No matter what I did, I'd try to relax my belly. It was always like this knot in my stomach. And when I was practicing the EFT tapping, I started feeling it loosen and come up. And I have to be honest, and this could happen, it might not, but I would cry, like tears would just come out. And that's a good thing. If that happens, that is a wonderful thing, because it's the energy coming up and being released out of your body. And I know a lot of this might sound a little wacky or woo-woo to you, because we're not taught this, but it is true. Like our emotions, our thoughts, all of this stuff is energy, and it does absolutely get stored in the body. And once we start moving the body, tapping on the body, using our breath, we can absolutely release it. Now, this technique came about because I had been doing all these different things. So I was doing the tapping, and then I was doing the physiological sigh, which you're going to learn about if you're not familiar with it. And I was doing some deep breathing, but I would just do like maybe one of those, and I do it for a couple weeks, or, whenever I was feeling that ick feeling, that terrible, gross feeling. And one day, and it actually wasn't that long ago, I was feeling a bit anxious, and I think it's probably right around the time I found out about my father. And I always go to my bedroom. I always like to find just like a little safe place, away from my kids, away from the dogs, away from everybody. And I sat on my bed and I started doing my tapping. Now, for me, my favorite meridian point that I've been using since I started doing it is underneath the collarbones. And come to find out, that one and the other one that I'm going to talk to you about in a few minutes, it's the bone underneath your eye. It's been scientifically proven that it reduces cortisol just by tapping on it. So basically the tapping, if you're not familiar, they're meridian points. They're the same meridian points used in acupuncture, but what they found was just by gently tapping on these meridian points has the same effect. So it's pretty cool. And the benefits are amazing. Absolutely amazing. Just how it can help with blood pressure, helps with depression, anxiety. They're using it with vets with post-traumatic stress disorder, and they're having really great results. So I'm really excited about that. So I went into my room, I'm on my bed, I start tapping underneath my collarbones, and I'm kind of like really in a panic at this moment. And then the next thing you know, I'm doing the physiological sigh. And then I'm box breathing, which is another technique if you're not familiar. It's one of the it's in the method. And then I'm doing what's called havening touch, which is this another wonderful technique that you're going to be learning about. And then so anyhow, I start doing them, but like I'm doing them like for about 1 or 2 minutes each. I wasn't timing it. I wasn't even thinking about it, but I wanted to calm down. I needed to calm down. And so I just took every tool that I had been using over the past 8 years, and I just like made this like cocktail of these tools. And I did it. It was literally under 10 minutes. And I stopped, and I always check in with my body like, okay, how do I feel? And I felt like this beautiful sense of calm. Something that, like the feeling that we all want to feel all the time. And I was like, wow, that's weird. And so I wrote down what I had done. And over the next few weeks, I started kind of messing around with it. And I'd switch them up. And then I got the blood pressure machine out, and I started like just taking my blood pressure after, because I was really feeling just like this sense of calm. And anytime I would get that ick feeling, I would just sit down and start doing this sequence. So that's how it came about. And I am going to stop talking, but before I do, and before I jump into teaching you this method, I just want to tell you something. You are not alone. You are loved. And again, I am just so grateful that you're here. And this method, yes, you can do it in 7 minutes. And it really does work in real time, and it does lower the cortisol. It reduces stress, all those wonderful things. But you can do variations, and sometimes I'll do 3 sets, so 21 minutes. One day I did each 7 tool for 7 minutes. So you can, mess around with it. But the important thing is that you do it daily. And I would suggest, if you're going through a really difficult time right now and you're under a lot of stress, do it before you get out of bed. Do it before you go to bed. Do it midday, maybe 3 times a day. Because like yoga, all of these tools, they have a cumulative effect. So it builds on it. So maybe one session might work wonders for you and chill you out, and that's wonderful. But most likely it's something that it's like a toolbox, and you want to use it on a daily basis. And that's what I would hope for you, to do this every day, at least for 30 days. And check back in with me and let me know how you're feeling. And I'm just, again, so grateful for you and so excited that you're here. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into this. All right, so let's see here. I have my notes because I need them. All right, so the method is called the 7x7 method, and it's 7 tools in 7 minutes to help reduce stress and anxiety. All right, and tool number 1 is EFT tapping on the meridian point under the collarbones. So I'm going to do this with you today. So if you can take all 10 fingers, or you can just use one hand on one side. But you're going to want to tap right underneath your collarbone. And I tap all around that area. So I go close to my shoulder, come back in, close to the center of my chest. And let's just do that. I'm not going to time us, but we're going to roughly do this for about a minute. Pay attention to your breathing. Make sure you're breathing in through your nose and out of your mouth. If you prefer, you can close your eyes to enhance the relaxation. but it's great to note that you can do this anywhere. I prefer you do these things in a comfortable seated position or lying down, but literally I was doing this in the grocery store. And who cares what people think? If you're stressed, you need something that'll calm you down in real time. Just gently tapping, not too hard. All right. Let's move on to tool number 2 is the physiological sigh. So similar to tool number 1, the physiological sigh is a technique that you really can employ anywhere, anytime. And I'm super excited to share this with you because right now it is under the microscope in research labs due to its unbelievable, remarkable ability to swiftly calm the nervous system. Actually, what they're finding that it's actually doing it faster than most of the other techniques that are out there, and it happens in real time. So what is this physiological sigh? All right, we all do it. Animals do it. Our dogs do it. Babies do it. If you've ever been around a baby, most of you I know are moms, not all of you, because there's some guys out there, but that may not have kids yet. Anyhow, so it's that, when a baby goes, okay. So we all do it. We do it in our sleep. Actually, Paisley, my granddaughter, was here the other day taking a nap in my bed, and I was working, and I heard her do it a few times, and she's the cutest thing. But anyhow, so what it is, or how you're going to do it is you're going to take a deep breath in through your nose, right? But you're going to take an extra sip at the top of the breath. So it's going to go like you breathe in, extra sip, then a long exhale out of the mouth. You're going to extend the exhale, all right? Now, if you were to be setting your timer for these, I usually do 4 or 5 in 1 minute. So again, you don't have to set a timer. It doesn't have to be so, I don't want any of this to be stressful. It's just generalized, like literally you can just spend 1 minute doing these techniques and get relief. But do them however long you want to, okay? All right, so we're gonna do this together and we're gonna do it 5 times right now. So I want you to take, again, a deep breath in through your nose, extra sip, exhale out. You want to make that audible sound like you're sighing, okay? Again. One last time. Awesome. All right. Check in for a moment. How do you feel? Feel a little calmer? I hope so. All right. I love that one. I do it every day. I do this method every day, but especially the physiological side, because it really has a beautiful calming effect. All right. Tool number 3 is box breathing. So if you're not familiar with box breathing, it's actually another versatile tool that can be practiced sitting or lying down virtually anywhere. But for safety reasons, I would not do this while driving. Actually, don't do any of these. Well, you can do the physiological sigh if you're stressed out in traffic. So anyhow, use caution, of course. All right. So box breathing, it isn't just any relaxation technique. It is a method employed by Navy SEALs, firefighters, military personnel, and it's also utilized in emergency rooms to swiftly calm patients down. So what you do with this is you inhale deeply in through your nose to a count of 4, then you hold your breath to a count of 4, then you exhale slowly to a count of 4, and then once again you pause and hold your breath for a count of 4. All right? And I guess I'm trying to think. I guess I do this probably about 6 or 7 times in my 1 minute that I calculated. So we'll do it 7 times together. Now, if you're severely anxious right now and holding your breath is uncomfortable for you, just eliminate that and just inhale to a 4 and exhale to a 4. Because once again, I don't want to add any stress to you. I'm actually helping you calm down. So I know that some people get a little nervous holding their breath, but it's only for 4 seconds. If you can do it, you're going to feel some really good results from this. So let's inhale to a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause and hold your breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. 1, 2, 3, 4. One last time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. The natural rhythm of your breath returns. And again, just check in with yourself for a moment. How are you feeling? All right. Tool number 4. Once again, it's EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, tapping under the eyes. So again, this is another thing that you can do while you're out in public. Now, say you're out in public and you are starting to feel anxious. And you're thinking, what the heck is wrong with me? What's wrong with me? All right, guess what? There's nothing wrong with you. You're going through a lot. You've been through a lot. And you've stored and you've tried to be so strong for so long. And you pushed everything down. And now it's stuck. But guess what? These things are going to help lift it and release it. And you're going to feel lighter. And then once again, the more you do these things, the better you're going to feel. So I've done this out in public. And then, I had severe social anxiety there for a while. I still do. To be honest, I'm a homebody and I actually really like being alone, but I love people. But sometimes when I'm in a big crowd, I get a bit anxious. So this is something I don't feel embarrassed doing it. Just tapping with one hand right underneath the eye. Now I chose this meridian because, like I said, there's several. I chose this one because of the studies, the research that I've done on it, and it really does rapidly reduce the stress hormone cortisol. All right. So just gently tap underneath the eye. Now you can use both hands if you'd like, or you can just do one side. We're going to do that for about a minute, just gently tapping, not too hard. You don't want to hurt yourself. And you have a nice natural rhythm of your breath going, I hope. And that's another thing we do when we're stressed. Unfortunately, we hold our breath. At least I know I do. And that can put you in a panic attack. Just that alone. Just that. Because you're anxious and you're scared. You just, it's like when something scary happens, we go, and that's a lot of times how a lot of us are living in that state. So always check in with your breath, no matter what. Just, okay, am I breathing? I'm starting to feel funny. Let me see. Am I breathing? Am I taking nice deep breaths in and out? All right, just continue tapping underneath your eye. Or eyes. You can close your eyes if you'd like. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, we're going to move on to, these aren't that bad, right? These are so easy. Tool number 6 is heart coherence breathing. This one is awesome, and I have attached to like information on all of these tools and the health benefits. So make sure you read that PDF. You might not be such a geek like me, but I love information. So anyhow, that's why I attached it so that you have it, so you understand that none of this is like just woo-woo wacky stuff. These are all science-backed, which is so exciting. All right, heart coherence breathing. I'd like you to take your left hand and place it on your chest, like right over your heart space. And then if you can, place your right hand on top of your left one. We're going to inhale in through our nose. And when you inhale, I want you to imagine that you are breathing into your heart. And when you exhale, you can either exhale out of your nose or your mouth. Again, you want to extend you always want, when you're being conscious of breathing or doing conscious breathing, you want to exhale a little bit longer than your inhale, because when you do that, you're actually sending a signal to your brain that you're safe. All right? So whether it's out of your mouth or out of your nose, it doesn't matter for this exercise. Just make sure it's a little bit longer. All right, so we are imagining that we're breathing into our heart, and as we exhale, we're going to imagine we're breathing from the heart. So our awareness is going to be at the heart center, and we're going to do that for a moment at your own pace. Inhaling into the heart and exhaling from the heart. Beautiful, beautiful. All right. So I actually skipped. Sorry, guys. I knew this was going to happen, but you guys are my friends and family, so you don't care. I skipped number 5. So we're going to go back, but that was tool number 6. All right, so back to tool number 5. Tool number 5 is called Havening Touch. All right. Again, read the PDF on this. Wonderful tool. There's a lot of research. There's these 2 brothers that invented this, and it can do a lot more than just calm you down. So I encourage you to research Havening Touch, but for the sake of this audio and our time together, we're just going to jump into it. All right, so with Havening Touch, you're going to start by gently rubbing your hands together. So I like to do it in front of my face, and you're just going to gently rub your hands together. You can take your right hand and rub the back of your left hand and do the same with your right hand. Rub them together, the palms together. Nice, gentle touch. Do that a few more times. All right, now we're going to cross our arms in front of our chest, and starting at our shoulders, you're going to take your hand and go down, rubbing, gently caressing your arm to your elbow in a downward motion. So go to the elbow and then come back up and down, gently caressing. You're giving yourself a little self-love today. All right. Another place you can haven touch is the top of your thighs. So maybe you want to take your hands and just go up and down the front of your thighs while you're sitting here. And we're going to do this for about 30 more seconds. Do any of them, the hands, the arms, the legs, whatever feels good for you. Oh, and actually there's another one. It's you would take your fingers gently and glide them across your face underneath your eyes, almost like you're wiping a tear. So whichever one, all 4 of them, whatever feels good for you today. All right. How you feeling? Check in. Wonderful, wonderful. We are on number 7. So this is the last tool in the method, and it's diaphragmatic, breathing. So yeah, it's like your diaphragm. All right, yeah, I have a hard time saying that word for some reason. All right, so with this one, you can either sit or lie down, just either way, but I just want you to be in a position where you can easily expand your belly, because that's what we're going to do here. It's basically a deep belly breath. So as you inhale deeply, you want to expand the lower part of your abdomen, and then your diaphragm, and then your chest. All right, so they all raise. This is one I kind of like laying down when I do it because I can really feel the movement, but you can do it sitting up. So this is a ancient breathing technique that helps calm the nervous system down. If you are into yoga, it'd be like a yogic breath. And we're going to go ahead and begin. Now, I want to give you a tip here. That's really important. So we have this thing, you might be familiar, you might not, called the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve is the largest nerve in our body. And it starts at the stem of our brain, and it goes down our throat into our chest, down into our gut. And if you can imagine, like at the end, it has these like little nerves that actually touch all of our internal organs. And it is a very important nerve because it sends signals, because the little things like receptors on it that touch the organs actually send signals to our brain. All right. So this is a really key thing to understand here. A lot of times when we're dealing with stress and anxiety, a lot of people go to do talk therapy. There's nothing wrong with talk therapy. It's amazing. But if we don't deal with the body, then we're very limited, because once again, I told you we it's energy, it gets stored in us, and we need to release it. So say, for example, let's just talk about the vagus nerve. And what we want to do is we want to calm the nerve down. And if you are in a state of panic or highly stressed, maybe you have something going on health-wise, and you're just under a lot of stress, like too much stress. So the vagus nerve is highly activated, and we want to tone it down. We want to tone the vagus nerve. So what I'm getting at is, with this deep breath that we're doing, this yogic breath, you can just exhale out like we've been doing, like maybe with a sigh, like a shh. But if you want to activate and calm down that vagus nerve and regulate it, let's not say calm down. We want to regulate. We want to regulate the vagus nerve. You can make a humming sound, like a Now, I'm sure, even whether you know yoga or not, the om, that vibration, they do it for a reason. They're not just weirdos. That vibration actually stimulates and regulates the vagus nerve. And it will give you definitely a deeper sense of calm. So I suggest it. I don't put it in. I haven't added it to the method, but as you exhale, I know it might seem weird if there's people around or whatever. Trust me, I know. I usually go like to a corner in my backyard to do it because people think you're weird. But it's really, really beneficial for you. So if you can make a humming sound, you can either go vroom or like a buzzing sound, or even om, like either one. So let's do that together. You don't have to make the sound if you don't want to right now, but please consider doing it, because we really want to regulate that vagus nerve, especially if we are feeling super stressed out or stressed in any case. And it's a healthy thing to do actually on a daily basis. So, all right, I'm going to stop talking. Let's take a nice deep breath in, deep breath, and let it out. One more time, deep breath in. Exhale out. All right, my dear friends and family, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to experiment with this method. I am so looking forward to your feedback. Again, please try to implement this into your daily routine. Again, you can do it in less than 10 minutes, so you can't beat that. And once again, no stress about it. You don't have to sit there with the timer, but you can. Do it at your own pace. Do it as often as you want. If you find that one of these tools helps you tremendously, that would be awesome. Just stick with that if you'd like. But please, use them. And again, please know that you're not crazy. You're not alone. There's some really great books out there. I might even add them to the PDF, like just for reference. There was a book called, this author, she was, I think, back in the 40s or 50s, Claire Weeks, and she wrote a wonderful book called Pass Through Panic, I think it's called. Anyhow, I'll do some research and add it. She won a Nobel Prize and everything. She was, I forget what type of doctor, but she ended up, she was in some sort of psychology, I believe. But anyhow, she wrote this book, and it was just such a relief for me to read it, especially when I was going through like agoraphobia, where I did not want to leave my house. I mean, there were days that I couldn't even walk out front. I mean, it was that bad. And, you think when you're going through these things, like, what is wrong with me? How come nobody else is like this? And it was just such a relief to hear her say in the book, like, there's nothing wrong with you. You've just been through a lot. Okay. And if any of you who are listening are like, what's wrong with me? Like, other people can do this and do that. Stop beating yourself up. There's nothing wrong with you. You've just been through a lot of shit. All right. And I care about you so much. And I don't know, I'm starting to cry, but thank you. And I'm looking forward, like I said, to hearing your feedback. So if you want to chat or anything, you guys just reach out to me. And I'm just so grateful for you. All right, that's enough. That's a wrap. I will talk to you all soon. Take care. I love you.